Hello folks, it's January the 28th and it's been a complete month since my last vlog, and if you're wondering how come I've left it 4 weeks, I'll explain later. But coming up in tonight's vlog, I'm doing a couple of comedy series reviews for the British Empire and also for my family. I'm doing an unboxing of this, which I haven't opened yet, and you're going to see it unboxed and opened at the same time, so you'll get to see what I see. Also going to be having a little bit of a talk about what I've been doing in the last 3 to 4 weeks, and also I've got some Lego builds to show you what I had for Christmas that I've actually built. So it's all coming up. Anyway, first of all, we've got I think, what should I do first? Yeah, I'm going to do the unboxing first. So coming up, the unboxing of the Zed Box for January 2021. So it's my first unboxing of 2021, and it's this. Even though it says My Protein on it and look fantastic and all that, it actually comes from the Hook Group, and it is the Zed Box for January 2021. And as you can see, it's still sealed. I haven't opened it yet. I'm actually going to open it now, so you'll get to see what I see when I can get through it. There you go. Just heard me open the seal, and again, and again. So there you go, unboxed. One box open. Right, I'm going to do what I usually do. Take out the garbage, of which there's quite a lot actually. Now, the first item is a Batman black and white figure. Oh, I've already had Robin in black and white. I'm wondering what I'm going to get this time. There you see it. Batman black and white figure. I'm trying to keep it out. There you go. That's a bit out the light, isn't it? Batman black and white figure. That's item number 1. Item number 2, t-shirt. Oh, a white t-shirt. As you can see, I'll put it like that. Back to the Future. So that's a nice big t-shirt, isn't it? Mr. Fusion. Home Energy Reactor. So that's a Back to the Future t-shirt. If you didn't realise that, there's the logo, look. So Back to the Future t-shirt, that's the second item. Let's put it behind me for a minute. Third item. An Infinity Gauntlet metal bottle opener. I'll hold it there actually, you can see it better out the light. An Infinity Gauntlet bottle opener, and it's quite a thick bottle opener actually. It's going to be a bit of a chunky one, that. That's item 3. Item 4. Ooh, Star Trek The Search for Spock print. As you can see it, Star Trek 3. The Search for Spock print. As you can see, it's a proper print, so that can be framed. That's item number 4. And last but not least, oh, that's it. Bit of a disappointing box actually, that. I'm not too happy with that. Not really much in that, is it? All we've got is a black and white figure, which I put back in the box. A Search for Spock poster. 10x8, I think that is, 10x8. An Infinity Gauntlet. Now, I do know actually these are worth £13 on their own. I do know that. You can buy them for £13, definitely. Infinity Gauntlet. And a t-shirt. So, I'd say there's only about £35 worth of stuff there this time. So, it's not the best box in the world. But then again, it is January, and I can understand why they're not giving as much out as they normally do. You know, everybody's got to make cutbacks because of lockdown and everything. But that is the Zed Box for January 2021. So that was the Zed Box unboxing, and while it was a bit disappointing, it wasn't too bad. You know, I mean, I've seen worse boxes anyway. It still beats the one that Geekbox sent me by a mile. That was the worst box I've ever had. Now, a lot's happened between the end of December and the end of January. Now, everything was starting off really well. It was coming up to New Year's Eve, and on New Year's Eve, me and Deb tuned in to YouTube because Jean-Michel Jarre, one of my favourite musicians, was doing a fantastic live concert from Notre Dame Cathedral. And we watched that, and that ended at 11 o'clock our time, but 12 o'clock their time. So it was rather strange that they were celebrating New Year when we'd still got an hour to go. But the funny thing was that same particular night, we actually left the EU at 11 o'clock. So while they were celebrating the New Year, we were celebrating leaving the EU. So that was quite coincidental. So yeah, everything was okay. Anyway, we got through New Year's Day. Everything went okay, no problem. Had a brilliant New Year's Day. Really did. Lovely meal, watched some TV in the evening. Fantastic. Went bed New Year's night. And when we got up the next morning, unfortunately, our dog Jess had a mini stroke in the middle of the night. We first noticed it when we realised the bed was wet. It was soaked, and we thought, this is strange. And then she couldn't walk right at all. She couldn't keep her balance and nothing. She was falling all over the place. And she didn't know who we were. She didn't have a clue. She didn't recognise us. She didn't know what she was doing, where she was going. She was walking into things. She was falling over things, and she knew where they were. She wouldn't have a dentist sticks, which she has every morning. And we knew there was something wrong. Anyway, we kept her monitored on the Saturday. This was the 2nd of January. We kept her monitored, and she was slightly improving, but nothing major, and we got a bit worried. Well, we couldn't ring anybody on the Sunday because obviously vets are closed. So what we did, we waited until the Monday morning, and I rang up the vets and I told them everything what had happened and told them what we thought had happened. And she said, yeah, it does sound like a mini stroke. Now, of course, we were thinking that was it. You know, is she in pain? Is this the end for her? Now, luckily, she seems to have made a 95% recovery. And Deb only found out from the internet that dogs have actually got a 75% more likely chance of recovering from a stroke than a human has, which is quite staggering when you think about it. Anyway, we've kept her monitored. And the reason I haven't been doing vlogging in the evening is because what me and my wife have been doing, me and Deb, we have been basically sitting watching TV. And we've watched comedy after comedy after comedy. Literally, we've done the full lot of Dinner Ladies. We've done the full lot of Absolutely Fabulous. We've done the full lot of the British Empire. We're one disc away from the end of My Family. And we've also done the full lot of Bread. So we've basically watched a hell of a lot of comedy series. And what we've been doing, we've been staying up and sleeping on the sofa, both of us. Basically, I've been going to sleep about 3:30, 4 o'clock. Deb's been trying to grab an hour here and there. And then what she's been doing, she's been sleeping in the day. And I've been even sleeping till like 1, 2 in the afternoon. And of course, by the time the evening comes, I've only been up a few hours, so I haven't felt like vlogging. Anyway, she is a lot better than she was. She's recognising us and everything. She's never going to be the same dog. We know that. You know, she's got problems with her arthritis as well because she's coming up to 13. So she's getting on for a breed of the dog she is, because she's a German Shepherd Lurcher cross. And obviously German Shepherds are prone to arthritis anyway. If you look that up, you'll find that out. And they also, if they reach 12 or 13, they've had a good innings for the dog. But I think because she's got Lurcher in her as well, I think that's keeping her going a bit longer. So other than that, really, we've basically just been getting through the days and making sure she's been okay. I've not done anything else other than that. I've done a couple of Lego builds, which I'll be showing you in a while. And watched TV, like I said, watched a lot of TV comedy box sets. And we've also had something called HelloFresh, which I'll be doing a review for in a minute as well. Despite comments from a couple of my friends who said they're not worth the money, technically, yes, I agree with it, but technically no, and I'll explain more later. But coming up, I'm going to show you now me Lego builds, which I had for Christmas, which I built, so you can see them fully built. Now, as you saw at Christmas, I had for Christmas a couple of Lego build figures. In fact, I had 5 plus the Buzz and they're all Liverpool. And there's the first one, which was Trent Alexander-Arnold, and there's the second one, which was Sadio Mane. Now, in the last 5 or 6 days, I built these. Well, 5 or 6 days. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks, actually. But I'll just show them you built now. That is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Anybody who's a Liverpool fan will recognise him straight away. As you can see, he's got the stickers on here and here, which Deb's had to put on because I can't do stickers that are that small. And again, you can see from the side, Liverpool champions 1920. On the back, you've got his number and his name, and you can see how small the Can you see how small the bricks are that I've had to use? If you look at my finger and you look at the size of the bricks, you'll see what kind of problem I've had and why it's taken me so long to build them. But I've had fun building them. So the first one is Trent Alexander-Arnold, as you can see there. That's Trent. And the second one I finished yesterday, and I love this one, I absolutely love this one, is Sadio Mane. And that is Sadio Mane. I haven't put the stickers on yet. Deb hasn't put my stickers on yet. I haven't asked her to, not yet, anyway. And as you can see, he's wearing his black gloves, customary black gloves, which he always wears. And this is what I love about it. He's even got the yellow streak in his hair, which Sadio Mane's got. And the detail on it is incredible. The detail is absolutely incredible. And anybody who's anybody would know that that's Sadio Mane, definitely. And he's the second one. I've actually got 3 more to build as well, which are Mo Salah. I've got to get this right now because I can't remember. Mo Salah, Alisson Becker, and I can't remember the 5th one. Do you know that? I can't remember the 5th one. Bad, isn't it? Anyway, Mo Salah is another one, and Alisson Becker, the goalkeeper. But that's the second one, and that is Sadio Mane. And again, as you can see from how small the bricks are, you can see how small the bricks are, how tiny the bricks are compared to my finger. That's why it took me quite a long time to build. So that's the second one built. I've done 2 out of the 5. The big one to build is the Buzz, because it's 1,200 and something pieces. So yeah, if I put them next to one another, you can see them both together. Trent Alexander-Arnold and Sadio Mane, both built by me, with a lot of frustration, a lot of anger at dropping pieces, a lot of frustration at my fingers not working properly, but then the first 2. More to follow. So yeah, as I do them, I will show them on my vlog. Now, like I said before, I've been watching a lot of comedy series, and I'm just going to do a bit of a review of a couple of them. The first one is a series called Bread. Now, Bread is set in the 80s, and it's set in Liverpool, and it's set one street and one main family, the Boswells. And the Boswells consist of the Ma Boswell, and then you've got the kids, which are the eldest son, which is Joey. Then you've got Jack, you've got Adrian, you've got Billy, and you've got the daughter, Aveline. Now, add into this mix Freddie Boswell, the father, who basically is a sort of, their father isn't their father because he's having an affair with a woman called Lilo Lil, and that's what they call her, Lilo Lil, that's her name. Lillian something, I can't remember her surname. Now, what it basically is, you've got 8 series of this comedy, and it shows you their ways of trying to make money and keeping the family going. Plus also you see insights into their relationships, what goes right, what goes wrong, mostly what goes wrong. And it also paints a picture of what life was like in the 80s. And it's a very, very true picture because, of course, back then, nobody had any job, nobody had any work. And a lot of the stories are featured to do with the DSS, which was known as the Department of Health and Social Security back in my day, the DHSS, and a certain clerk who basically has to deal with these people coming in all the time, and she gets to know every single Boswell, and she hates them with a vengeance. But even she ends up getting involved with one of the Boswells later on. It's very, very worth watching. And if you do want a nostalgia trip and you want to see things that you've not seen for a very, very long time, what we found fascinating about it was we'd been to Liverpool, we visited Liverpool a few times, and while you're watching it, every so often you will see scenes set in the centre of Liverpool, and looking how it looked in the 80s and compare it to how it looked now is absolutely incredible. It really is amazing. So as well as you've got the stories, you've got the nostalgia, you've got the scenery, which shows you areas which you recognise, but you won't know if you go there now because they look nothing like that. Now, like I said, all these characters basically are trying to make money any way they can. They try not to break too many laws. You know, they don't go around duffing people up or mugging people or breaking into people's houses, but they don't mind ripping people off. They don't mind doing that. You know, if they can get a bargain for something and they can rip people off, they will do. And they don't mind where they buy stuff from either, which again is true to the time. Now, a lot of people will say this was stereotypical because they painted a picture of Liverpool, people being this sort of, oh, you know, I'd do anything for money type thing. But it doesn't paint a picture of that, because this is an honest family in the respect that they don't do anything that will, try not to do anything that will cause embarrassment to the family. And what I love about it is at the start of the day, they all gather for breakfast. The mother cooks breakfast religiously for them, and they have set times for meals. And at the end of the day, they've got this like a porcelain chicken thing that sits in the middle of the table, the dinner table, where they all sit round. And they take the lid off every night, and everybody has to chip in some money as to what they've made each day. And like I said, it's a fantastic series. It really is a good series, and it's called Bread. And it's based, there's 8 series of it altogether. And I've missed a character out, by the way, who's the main character of it now, and he lives next door to them, and he's their granddad. And anybody who watches Bread will notice that they'll recognise Grandad from an earlier comedy series called Are You Being Served? He played one of the Mr. Gracies. I think it was the younger Mr. Gracie played, and he's an actor called Kenneth Waller. Now, he's absolutely brilliant, and he has some of the best lines in it going. He really does. And I'm glad that further on in the series, they involve him more. You find a bit more about his backstory and about why he is how he is, etc., etc. And of course, you've also got the story of this Freddie Boswell. He alternates between going home to his wife, who's still married, which is Nellie Boswell, who's the head one, the one I told you about, played by Jean Boat, or going to his mistress, which is Lilo Lil. So he can either go home and be the family man, or go to his mistress, who he basically just spends all the sexual encounters with her, you know. So it's a really, really, really good series, and I would definitely give it 9 out of 10. And that's a series called Bread. And it was written by Carla Lane, by the way. The second series I want to tell you about is a complete contrast to it, actually, and it's set in the 90s, and it's called The British Empire. Now, anybody who's ever watched Red Dwarf will know Chris Barry, and he is basically a head of a leisure centre, but he is the worst kind of person you've ever come across in your life. Now, don't get me wrong, he hasn't got a mean bone in his body. He never means to be horrible to anybody, but he has got this way of winding up every single person he encounters, including his wife, who ends up in therapy and all sorts of stuff. And it's a fantastic series because basically you see him on a day-to-day basis having catastrophe after catastrophe that literally wipe out this leisure centre time after time. And as well as that, he has to deal with staff that keep revolting against him and hate him with a vengeance. He also has to deal with a councillor who's determined to get him sacked and doesn't want him anywhere near the building. And he also has various weird characters coming into the leisure centre, from everything from actors to film crews, undercover film crews, to council health inspectors, and everything that can possibly go wrong in a series goes wrong in that. And again, there's a lot of series of it. I think there's 8 series again, I think. And we watched every episode of it from start to finish, and I'd not done that before. But it's really, really worth watching for the humour. The humour's just mad. You will laugh out loud and cringe at the same time. It is one of those kind of comedies. Now, if you like your insane humour, you will love this. You don't have to think about anything. There's nothing that makes you go taxing. Nothing taxes your brain at all because it's all there in front of you. And a lot of the times you can see what's going to happen before he does. You know, he can do that. And I'll give you an example of the kind of thing he'd do. He'd walk into a Weight Watchers class and say, "You're doing really, really well, you women. You won't be long before the fat drops off you." He is that subtle, shall we call it. He doesn't have any filter whatsoever. He says exactly what he thinks, and he is a stickler for regulations. He makes up regulations like you would not believe. You could go to this leisure centre and book swimming, and it takes you 45 minutes to fill the forms in. Then you need 2 proofs of ID. Then you need proof that your parents were born in the UK. Then you need this, then you need that. And by the time you filled it all in, you're bored and you've gone. And that's why most of the time in the leisure centre, there's nobody in it, just the staff. Because people don't visit it because they hate him. They hate him with a vengeance. But it's worth watching just to watch the entire storyline from when he first joins right the way to the end. And I won't spoil the end for you, but right the way to the end. And it's brilliant, it really is. There are various characters in it. You know, you've got 2 workers who were there, who were obviously homosexual. They live with each other. And all the way through, these 2 men, they live with each other, and you know they're homosexual because of what they say about each other. But Chris Barry has literally got a veil over his face. He's got a veil over it. He can't tell that they are. And he keeps trying to say, oh, you know, when you're out and you're chatting up women, you do this and you do that. And he doesn't realise he never clicks in the entire series. He never clicks in. Never at all the way through it. And it's worth watching just to watch his awkwardness in situations. It's brilliant, honestly. And it's the British Empire, and I would give that 8 out of 10. Now, this 3rd series is the series we're on at the moment, and we've only got half a disc left, so I'm ready to rate it. And it's called My Family, and it stars the fantastic Robert Lindsay and the brilliant Zoe Wanamaker. And what it basically is it's a family. It's a mother, it's a father, and it's 2 sons and a daughter. Now, the sons and daughters aren't like 5, 6, 7, 8, no. The youngest one is Michael, and I think he's about 10, 11 when it first starts. Janie is about 16, and I think Chris Marshall's character, which is Nick, is about 20, I think, 20, 21. And what it basically is, it's a story of family life, all the trials and tribulations of family life. And you've got so many contrasting characters that it works brilliantly. You've got Janie, who is basically played by Daniela Dembiash, and she is basically a typical girl of that time. She's mad on fashion, boys, clothes, Prada, expensive stuff. She doesn't want anything that's an ordinary, and she uses her father like a cash machine to get anything she wants. Even though he hates it and he doesn't want to do it, he still does it. This is Robert Lindsay's character, Ben Harper, and Zoe Wanamaker is Susan Harper. Now, their youngest son is Michael, and he starts off a bit of a sort of schooly geek type thing. He's one of these he's got the glasses, he's got the short hair, and he's always got his head in a book, or he's always doing something to do with science or studying or something like that. And you watch his character develop from this boy who's about 10 or 11, like I said, all the way up to now, where I think he's 20 now. He's 20 or 21 now. And it's how his character develops in from this geeky sort of, head in a book to now being just somebody who doesn't give a toss about anything, really. I left Nick to the end because Nick is the eldest son. Now, Nick is the kind of son that you would have nightmares about. Played brilliantly by Chris Marshall, who obviously went on to do Death in Paradise. But in this, he is literally your worst nightmare. He can make you go from being happy as anything 1 minute to being so depressed you want to cut your throat the next. Because he comes up with some bizarre stuff. He wants to make money. And he's not prepared to get a job because he has something like 14 jobs and gets sacked after 1 day. If he does 2 days, he calls that a career. This is the kind of lad he is. And he comes up with some amazing, stupid things to make money. The best one I remember is where he does nickbitsonline.com. And what Nick Bits Online is basically he's gone onto eBay and he's selling his body organs. And he's the kind of intellectual sort of stupidity that basically he tries to sell 3 kidneys. And when somebody points out that he's only got 2, he turns around and says, yeah, but they don't know that, do they? This is the kind of lad he is. And he's completely mental. He's the kind of person, if he was your mate, you'd have a laugh. You would scream and you would laugh your socks off with him. You can't imagine a day without him because he's funny. He is really, really funny. But as a son, he would be the most infuriating child you could possibly imagine. And the run-ins that he has with Ben Harper and Susan Harper, which is obviously, like I said, Robert Lindsay and Zoe Wanamaker, are incredible. But he goes out of it after a few series. And in comes another relative called Abby Harper, who is basically, I think it's Ben Harper's cousin's daughter or something like that anyway. And she comes into it and she is literally, how can I put this without sounding stereotypical? She's thick. She really is totally mental. She's the kind of person who could have 12 accidents just from getting out of bed and going to the bathroom. She could have 12 accidents. She could fall over her feet. Then she could get her ankle on the banister. Then she could trap her fingers in the door. You know, all this sort of thing. And this was before she's even come downstairs. Now, into this mix is thrown Robert Lindsay, by the way. I meant to tell you, Robert Lindsay is a dentist in this. He's a dentist and his wife's a tour guide. And he's been a dentist for years. And he is a cantankerous dentist. He is one of these dentists that basically says, sit down, shut up, open your gob, got scraped, right, done, right, you're gone, see you in 6 months. He's got no charisma, no nothing at all. But he thinks he has. He thinks he's a wonderful parent. He thinks he's the best thing since sliced bread. But he isn't. And everybody hates him. They mention his name and people will not turn up for dinner parties if they know he's going to be there. That kind of thing. He's horrible. Now into this mix comes another dentist called Roger Bailey. And he is basically happy all the time. He's never sad at all. Never sad at all. He's happy, he's bouncy, he's always trying to cheer Ben up. He's always getting the wrong end of everything. He tries his best, but he fails at everything he does. Now he falls in love with Abby. And for 2 or 3 series, there's a sort of bonding process going on between those two. I won't tell you what happens because, again, I'm not going to spoil it. But it's a fantastic series. It's brilliant. You can't stop watching it because the situations they get into, you'll think, my family are like that. My family are like that. It's so easy. Deb's watching it at the moment, and when she's watching it, she'll see situations and she'll say, right, we've been like that. We've done that exactly same as that when I was younger. So there are situations you can relate to. And there's also Christmas specials. There's 11 series and 7 Christmas specials, I think. And we're nearly at the end of it now. But that is a fantastic series, and I would have to give that 9 out of 10 again because it's brilliant. If you get a chance to watch it and you go on BBC iPlayer, the entire series of My Family is on there. So, yeah, I would give that one 9 out of 10. So that's Bread, that's 9 out of 10. The British Empire, that's 8 out of 10. And My Family, which is 9 out of 10. Check them out and let me know what you think. Now, just before Christmas, we subscribed to a thing called HelloFresh, and we got our first box on January the 14th. Now, we were a bit wary about this, but we weren't sure. So what we thought we'd do, we thought we'd give it a trial. Now, luckily for me, just before Christmas, I entered this competition thing, which basically gave me my first 4 boxes for 50% off. I know it's probably a con and everybody gets it, but anyway, I signed up. Anyway, the first box come, and I've got some pictures to show you now, so I'll talk you through this. As you can see on the screen now, there's these pictures here, and these are refried bean tacos, and they were absolutely gorgeous. They really, really were nice. Now, some of the ingredients in there aren't stuff that we use all the time, things like lime and corianders and all this kind of stuff that's usually in with them, turmerics and all this. But what each one comes with, basically what you do, you pick 3 recipes per week. You can pick 3 recipes from about 30. And you could do with ordering them. I think you've got something like 2 weeks before the order date to order them so they can get them for you. Anyway, there's a lot of choice on there. There's meat stuff, there's vegetarian, there's vegan. There's all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff you can do, and some you can add extra things to, like garlic breads and all sorts. So what you basically do, you choose 3 meals. Now, they're £30 for 3 meals. Now, people might go, hang on a minute, that's a lot of money, that's a lot of money. But if you think that if you go to a restaurant, 2 of you, and you have a meal each that's restaurant quality, you're not going to get it for a £5 each, are you? You're not going to get it for a £5 each. You're just not. So, yes, it's £10 each for a meal. But obviously, because we got 50% off, got them for £17 something, because obviously the postage as well. Anyway, these meals came. And we didn't realise this thing about having to order 2 weeks early. So we went on to the second week to order, and it had already said, you can't change this now. It's already been done. So I thought, right, here's a test for me now. This is a bit of a test. So what I'll do, I'll live chat with somebody and see how they deal with this situation. And he came up on live chat, and I said, right, I'm a new subscriber. I said, I had my first box the other day. It was fantastic. Loved the stuff in it. Great. But I've gone on now, and the second week's already been chosen for me because I didn't know you had to pick 2 weeks in advance. I've looked at the stuff what you've picked, and I can't eat some of it, and my wife can't eat some of it because she's vegetarian, and I can't eat things like ginger and stuff like that. I've got an intolerance. And he said, right, okay, leave it with me a minute. I thought, right, okay. They come back and they said, right, although the box has been, you might get the box, so you might get the box anyway, I have refunded you the entire cost of the box. I said, right, and they said, yeah, and also what it was, one of the items should have had little gem lettuce, baby gem lettuce, and it wasn't, it was rocket. So I told them about that, thinking that they'd say, oh, we won't do this again. But they actually refunded us for the price of the lettuce. So basically, within 10 minutes time, 10 minutes, they had literally dealt with my complaint, well, not my complaint, my query, sorted it all out, refunded me the money, and still said, if the boxes do come, if you could pass them on to somebody else and they can use the stuff, that would be brilliant. Now, luckily, they didn't arrive, so I didn't have to fathom out what to do with all the stuff. But if the customer service is like that, you know you're onto a winner. So anyway, I told you we had the refried bean tacos, which you've just seen. Now, the second one we had was plant-based burgers with halloumi and wedges. And here's the picture now, as you can see. And again, this was absolutely beautiful. It really was nice. There was a plant-based burger underneath that, believe it or not, and it was a quarter pounder. Now, it was a bit too much for Deb because Deb doesn't eat things like that. She doesn't eat a quarter pound burger with a big wedge of halloumi on it. I was fine with it. I absolutely loved it. And again, it had got things like drizzles of lime and chipotle sauce and stuff like this, things that we wouldn't normally have had. Now, obviously, we can't go out for a meal. We can't go to a restaurant and book a table for Valentine's Day or nothing like that. So these are ideal. And the beauty of them is you can have them as often as you want. You could have one a week if you wanted to. You could have 2 a week, 3 a week. You could have one a month, one every 2 or 3 months. You don't have to have a set amount as a subscription. You don't have to say, oh, I want one every week for the next 52 weeks, because that would just be ridiculous. It costs you a fortune. It costs you 120 quid a month. So what we're going to do, which is what we think is a fantastic idea, is have one every month. So every month we get 3 restaurant meals without having to go out to a restaurant. Now, some of them are more, they've got different ingredients in, and some of them you have to pay an extra, say, $1.99 a serving or something like that, because they are proper, they've got everything in them, all sorts of stuff. They've chucked extras in and everything. So you can actually do varieties of the meal. Also, some of them, you can choose desserts. So you might want 2 mains, so that's for 4, because obviously we get them for 2 people. So each one comes as 2 pour. You get 2 lots in each one. So basically, when you get the meal, because it's for 2 people, there's 2 of everything. If it was for 3 people, there'd be 3, and if it was for 4, because you can go up to 4 people, you see. So most families, not all, but most families are catered for. And I really, really like the food. I've had 2 meals so far, and the other 3 have come today. Like I say, you've seen the pictures. I've just shown you the pictures. And the quality of the food is stunning. It really is absolutely brilliant. And it gets us to have different meals that we wouldn't normally have tried. And now we've got the recipe card, so that if we want to do that meal again, we just got to get the ingredients. And, they're not ingredients that you can't get. They're not like, something that can only be bought from Guatemala or something like that. These are all ingredients that are sold in stores. Like I said, like cumin, like turmeric, like chipotle paste and stuff like this. They're all there. And because the individual items come as individuals, you can leave out anything you don't want. So we've had one of the meals that's come, which is this lentil cauliflower curry that's come today, and in it is ginger. But because the ginger is ready to be prepared, and I can't have ginger because it will kill me, ginger will be left out. It's not already mixed in the pot ready. You basically have to cut the stuff up and prepare it yourself. You cook it yourself. And I would definitely rate it. I would really, really rate it. I would give it 4 out of 5 stars at the moment, and it might even go up to 5 out of 5 stars. The only reason I'm giving it 4 is because I haven't tried enough recipes yet. I've only tried 2. But hopefully after these next 3, I might be able to upgrade it to 5 out of 5 because it's really, really good quality food, and I highly recommend it if you get a chance. And no, I'm not being sponsored. I'm not being paid to recommend it. I'm giving an honest review of a product that I think people might like. Well, like I say, I haven't been doing a lot these last few weeks. I've started reading. I've started reading again last night. I'm reading Richard Breyer's biography. I'm looking forward to that. What I have stumbled upon is a place called Blackwell's. Now, I don't ever heard of Blackwell's because it isn't really. I had never heard of it. Now, you've heard of W.H. Smith, obviously, and most people have heard of Waterstones, where you can get books from. Now, one of my survey companies, Consumer Pulse, pays in either hotel vouchers, which are about as much use as rocking horse poop at the moment, or you can have national book tokens. Now, you'll be surprised at this, but there's only 5 or 6 places online that accept national book tokens online, because Waterstones don't, W.H. Smith doesn't, but Blackwell's does. Now, I'd never heard of Blackwell, so I went on and I thought, in for a penny, in for a pound. I got one of the vouchers on my computer, the code and everything, 20 quid. Right. I went on and I looked for signed books, because I collect biographies and signed ones are better. And I've been able to pick up the signed Jamie Redknapp biography, hardback version, like I say, signed inside, it is signed, for £12. Now, that's a hardback book, a signed edition for £12, Jamie Redknapp. Now, I'm a Liverpool fan, so of course to me it jumped off the page anyway. And I thought I'd give him a trial. Now, I paid for it about 7 days ago. And I thought this could take a long time to get here, do you know what I mean? Because I've never used them before. I don't know what the service is like or anything. I got an email off him to tell me thank you for the order. I got an email off him to say the order has been shipped. I got another email off him to say that the order was with the courier. And today it's arrived. Perfect quality, lovely box on it, you know, easily packed. It wasn't dented, battered, nothing. They even threw in a free bookmark, which I wasn't expecting. So, yeah, I would recommend them. They're called Blackwell's. And I've ordered one book, and I think I will be ordering quite a few more books off there because they've got some absolute crackers on there. They really have. I'm hoping to read quite a lot. I'm hoping to read 21 books in 2021, which will be an achievement. I've got another David Jason book to read called Dell of a Life. And basically, its story's supposed to be written by Dell himself, which will be interesting. I'm looking forward to reading that as well. So, yeah. So other than that, like I said, watching TV, keeping an eye on the dog, reading, building Lego, and I've got some more jigsaws, which I'll be showing you within the next few weeks. It's been a different start to the year. I hope yours has been a bit better than ours. You take care, and I'll do another vlog soon. Bye for now.